Hello everyone, I'm Jesus and welcome to the next episode of The Road to Old School and TG. These next 4 videos are game videos of the recent old school tournament I participated in Days Time Warp in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. So they had their monthly old school tournament and this was the one for November 2023. I recorded all 4 of my matches, so it was a 4-round event. This is video of game 1. So before we go into the video, let me dive into my deck pick. So for this event, I am playing Bantamgeddon, right? So it's Erhnamgeddon, but with blue. The blue is for the blue power, of course, Ancestral Time Walk, Brain Geyser, but also for the creatures in the form of Serendib Efreet. Then it's just your standard Erhnamgeddon deck, 3 Erhnams, Serra Angels, 3 Armageddons, Winnie creatures with 7 Alliance, Pixies, 2 Birds of Paradise, and removal with 3 Swords, 3 Disenchants. My bigger creatures would be the 4 Juggernauts, 3 Erhnams, and 3 Dibs. And of course the 2 Serras. Okay, so this is my own personal build for this type of deck, and I want to explain some of my deck choices and also sideboard choices. So the 3 cards, just historic, this is the deck I started playing with when I first got into old school Magic, so I have a lot of experience with this particular deck in general, just the Erhnamgeddon deck in general. And I played just the green-white version, and I've also played this Bantamgeddon version with the blue in it as well, right? So with the blue especially, right, that's 3 colors. The 3 cards I've noticed I am very susceptible to are City in a Bottle, The Abyss, and Blood Moon. So previous versions of this deck have been destroyed by those 3 cards. So this is this particular version is a result of me tweaking my deck in preparation of me seeing those 3 cards played against me, right? So that way it minimizes their effectiveness, right? So it's still effective against me, but before I would lose games with any of those 3 cards played against me. Now I can definitely get around them and still manage a win. So first of all, the City in a Bottle. So previous versions of this deck, traditionally you will see 4 Erhnams, 4 City of Brasses, 4 Serendibs, and a Loa. So first of all, for the Loa, Library of Alexandria, this event and all future, at least at the moment, all future events at Days Time Warp old school monthly events will be gentleman's rules. So no Library of Alexandria and no Mind Twist, as well as these events are proxy friendlies. So although my deck has no proxies, throughout these 4 videos, you might see some proxies being played. All right, so with that out of the way, explaining the City in a Bottle. So previous versions of this deck had the 4 City of Brasses, 4 Erhnams, 4 Dibs, Law. So I took the Law because of the gentleman's rules, but I've since taken all 4 City of Brasses out, so I rely more on my dual lands. And then I've dropped to 3 only of each Erhnam and Serendib. So that way, the City in the Bottles being cast won't be as effective. You know, they'll still maybe kill 1, 2 creatures, but I still got other threats coming that are not from Arabian Nights, right? Which City in a Bottle targets. So it's less effective against me. It's no longer such a huge hit against me. Or at least it's less potentially such a huge hit against me, and I can still win games even with that in play being played against me. For Blood Moon, I figured the best defense against it is just to have more basic lands. So that's and that coincides with the City in a Bottle. A lot of times those 2 cards get played a lot, right? If someone's playing mono red, they usually will be mainly mountains, and then they won't have much Arabian Nights cards because it's just mono red. You know, those cards, you know, are not the best for mono red. So those 2 cards routinely get put in together, and that's happened to me, and I basically lost on the spot because of that. So for Blood Moon, I have now more basic lands in the deck. So I have 2 basic plains, 2 basic forests, and 3 basic plains, 2 basic forests, 2 basic islands. So 7 basic lands in addition to my 12 dual lands and my strip mine. Of course, I still have the Moxes on the side, which help a lot, but that's just one of each. Blue, green, white. So the basic lands are very important. So that way, if Blood Moon gets cast against me and I don't have a blue elemental blast or a disenchant in hand, I can still wiggle my way around it, right? So that's my way of playing around that card. And the third one was the Abyss. So for the Abyss, I have the Juggernauts, which are not susceptible to the Abyss. Artifact creatures don't get sacrificed to it, so that helps with that. And then in addition, on the sideboard, I have 3 Concordant Crossroads. Concordant Crossroads give my creatures haste, but most importantly, it's an enchant world, just like the Abyss, so there can only be 1 enchant world in play at a time. So that will destroy the Abyss, plus give my creatures haste. So that's a way of the deck naturally being stronger against the Abyss than previous versions, right? So that's why you see the card choices that you see here with my particular deck. So speaking more on the sideboard now, I explained Blue Elemental Blast and Concordant Crossroads. The 3 Healing Salves, I believe this was the first time I actually even played with them, period, and had them at all. And I decided to just, go all out with 3 on the sideboard, and you will be seeing me using the Healing Salves within these 4 games. So they ended up being extremely effective. I'll just say that. The energy reflexes are against shops or any artifact-heavy decks. Balance, I couldn't fit it within my 60-card deck, so I just put in the sideboard. Plus, with the Armageddons, the balance, it kind of like does the same thing, kind of, at least similar enough. So I put on the sideboard, and then the 2 Karmas against black-heavy decks. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go into the video. So this is game 1 of the 4 games I recorded for this event, old school Atlantic event. Gentlemen's rules, proxy friendly. So my first opponent was a younger player, and they were given this deck, right? So a bit unfamiliar with it. They're still kind of new. So if the gameplay is kind of slow, it's because of that reason, right? It's just explaining my plays and so on. For turn 1, I mulligan, so I'm putting 1 card back. I won the die roll, so I'm going first. I see a Swords in hand there. I drop a Savannah and I pass, right? So not a very fast start for me. Turn 1 for my opponent. Mishra's Factory. And he passes. My turn. Draw. I play a Tundra. That makes blue-white. The Savannah makes green-white. So basically I have all 3 colors already of the cards that I can play. I play a Time Walk and go to my next turn. So this is a tempo play. I want to be able to hopefully drop a 3rd land and then play things out. So I play a Birds of Paradise, a Savannah Lines, and then I pass. So I do not have that 3rd land. I think that's why I Time Walk, because I was hopeful I would draw that 3rd land. So I must have not have it in hand, but I was hopeful that I could get it. But I didn't. Or another possibility is that I had it. I do have that 3rd land, but I'm not playing it because, of course, I play Armageddons. But honestly, I doubt I would do this. I'm pretty sure it's because I didn't draw that 3rd land. My opponent plays a mountain. So he played the factory on first turn. So now it is available to attack, and it can pump itself as well. So my opponent is kind of hesitant right now. Either too many options or maybe not that many, and then is deciding, what to do. All right, seems he passed. So I'm going. I draw my card. Of course, we saw that swords from before, right? So I'm attacking, knowing that I can swords his factory if he activates the factory, right? But that didn't happen, so my opponent takes 2 damage down to 18. So there's no life counter, so I'll try to keep the life totals as I am commentating. My opponent dropped a forest. So now my opponent is outpacing me in terms of lands, but of course I could be holding lands in hand. I will routinely do that because of course, since I know I'm gonna Armageddon, or I'm hopeful that I would Armageddon within the game, I kind of hold out for that. So I see a Erhnam in my opponent's hand. I think I may a Fireball as well. But let's see what he does. All right, passing. Looks like I have 4 cards in hand. Now this is my 5th. I drew, paying 2 mana for a Chaos Orb. So I'm still not dropping that 3rd land. Honestly, I'm pretty sure I would drop that land if I had it. So I'm not faking here. Or at least I thought I am. I don't remember I was. Seems I am passing. All right, no attacks. I could have still, of course, attacked and then swords the factory before blocks. But I'm thinking maybe since my opponent already had 3 lands and I saw a forest, and then they were gonna get that 4th land next turn. I was holding it off for a bigger target like the Erhnam. So here I'm just practicing my orb flips. The first one, if you notice, I totally missed. So the next 2 or 3 I nailed. These sleeves are from my play group, Sisters of the Flame, and they're brand new. This is the first time I used them, so that's why I was practicing on the side there, my orb flips, because the sleeves are actually a little taller than what I'm used to, and they were very slick because they're brand new. So I wanted to kind of start preparing myself for when I did that eventual orb flip in the future. All right, so my opponent dropped a 2nd Mishra's Factor, so that's even worse for me, because so far I only have that Savannah Lines, right? So he could easily block and pump. I do have that swords yet, which I haven't used, but I don't know that my opponent has an Erhnam in hand. So let's see if he casts that or attacks. Yep, choosing to cast the Erhnam. Okay, I see a Juggernaut, I believe, in his hand. End of turn, I am sourcing the Erhnam. So my opponent jumps up to 22 life because he took 2 previously. All right, so it puts it to the side at an angle. So we do have the life totals, but unfortunately they were too far to the side and not visible in camera. But I'm keeping up with it here. All right, so I do finally drop that 3rd land, another Savannah. Attack, my opponent's at 20. And then I pass 3 cards in hand. So this is something I've gotten used to from webcam games, where I'm just putting my hand down to the side, spread apart, so that it's easy for my opponent to see my hand size. And right, I'm still doing it even within a live situation. I think it makes me less fidgety because I guess if I was playing more like a burn deck, or a lot of decks that have a lot of instants, I would need to continuously look at my hand. But since I do have some, right, some things, but not that much. So it gives me that ability to just drop my hand to the side and only pick it up when I need to do stuff. All right, end of turn. My opponent casts the Juggernauts, and then I disenchant it. End of turn. My turn. I attack for 2 Opponent drops to 18. So I did. Okay, so I do have 4 mana available right now. I could have cast that Erhnam, and I would have, or the Juggernaut. I play with Juggernauts as well, but I am not noticing them. So, all right. So my opponent casts an Erhnam. I swords it. He casts a Juggernaut. I disenchant it. So far, hasn't attacked with the factories. So that is another option, right? So depending what they have in hand, they may opt for that instead. Oops. Let's see. 3, 4. Ooh, fireball for 1 each. So good play. Yep, so he's destroying both my bird and my Savannah lines with this 1 fireball. So that's a good play by him. 1 red for the casting cost, 1 extra colorless to split it into 2, and then 2 colorless for 1 damage each. All right, so yep, but I didn't have anything in hand that I wanted to react to. So yeah, my turn. I draw a card. So now I don't have that 4th mana anymore. So unless I drop a land or play a Soul Ring, I guess, or something like that, or a Mox, I have to drop that 4th land if I want to be able to cast like an Erhnam or a Juggernaut or a Savannah Lines. I mean, or a Serendib, I mean. All right, so I don't play a land. I don't play a Mox. I only have 3 mana. And then I pass the turn. 4 cards in hand on my side. So that's my opponent's turn. Okay, so my opponent, I think, is reading the Chaos Orb. He may have a Shatter or something. So let's see. I think I'm explaining like if he can react to it after I've activated it. So maybe that's the discussion right now. We shall see soon enough. So he has a pretty full hand. So at least 5 cards. That's pretty scary. And he's already dropped so Erhnam and a Juggernaut, right? So a pretty aggressive deck, just like me. I think I saw a Disintegrate in my opponent's hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it looks like at least 5, maybe 6 cards in hand. All right, tapping. All right, finally activating it and attacking. So I'm surprised he's using the factory to activate the other factory. So I disenchant the one that's attacking. So I did have that response in hand. Of course, I could also Chaos Orb, but I think I'm holding that off until absolutely necessary, right? So even though I've casted that Chaos Orb, I think, from a few turns ago already, I'm still trying to use other means to get rid of other things. So, 4 mana, finally. Okay, my own Juggernaut. So, I'm pretty sure I drew that Mox now, and then I played it right away. So, I must have had that Juggernaut already in hand. So, last turn, or maybe I'm wrong, because I should have cast it if I did. So, maybe I'm wrong. Okay. But either way, opponent lightning bolts at end of turn. So, this is one of the reasons why that Juggernaut is one of the cards I'm looking to potentially change after this event. It's just very fragile. Of course, you can sword set like usual, but you can also disenchant it, you can shatter it, you can crumble it, and you can lightning bolt it, chain it. So it's especially susceptible to a lot of extra cards that, let's say, another 4 mana creature would not be, right? Like an Erhnam. Okay, here I'm still practicing my orb flips. Oof, that one was horrible. So my opponent is still thinking about what to do. So he's 1 land less because of my disenchant on his factory. Okay, so like I said, I don't have experience with this sleeve, so I'm just practicing right here. So my opponent attacks, I drop 2, and he giant grows it, so I drop 3 more, I'm at 15. Nice. So life totals right now, he's at 18, I'm at 15, so he's winning. Yeah, but do they see that disintegrate? I think I see another Erhnam in hand, but he lost that extra land. Okay, so now I have 5. I'm surprised I'm dropping another land. Because I have 5 mana now. And the only thing that requires 5 mana in my deck is Serengils, right? So unless I have a Serengil in hand, I tend, or at least I'm trying to not play another land, because I could choose to then Armageddon, and then I won't lose that extra land, right? So unless I see otherwise, this seems like a mistake on my side. Because if I play that extra land, it should have been only because I already had a Serra in hand. But if I did, I would have cast it. If I was playing against black, or just a deck that I noticed may play this card, I would then not do those kind of things, right? And just play the lands ASAP. Right. Disintegrate. So he did have a disintegrate for 2. I'm at 13. Right, my turn. So he could have just attacked for 2 as well, but I guess he wants to not lose another land. So I didn't mention it, but in the previous turn, when I dropped that land, I also regrowth the Juggernaut, and then I cast it right now. My opponent's turn, still only on 3 mana. I'm surprised I'm not seeing any elves. So a lot of pump, direct damage, some pump with giant growth, and then big creatures with Erhnam and Juggernaut, but no weenies other than the factories. But then, of course, I think now that I destroyed that first one, and he's not getting extra lands, he's choosing not to, because I could always Chaos Orb the second factory as well. My turn. And I'm surprised I don't. Maybe I should have anyway. All right, so I'm attacking, because with Juggernaut you have to attack. So my opponent can animate, block, and pump, so they would trade. He could trade his factory for my Juggernaut. But maybe he doesn't want to lose the land, or he's afraid of what I have in hand. Okay, he takes the 5, so drops to 13. So we're even on life. Oof, and here it comes. I drop an Armageddon. So right now I'm ahead. So I'm doing this a lot, where I attack first. Depending what my opponent does, I then Armageddon. I used to do it before, the opposite way, where I would Armageddon first, but then my opponent would then cast a fast effect that would maybe destroy my creature that I had in hand, right? So basically I'm attacking first. If he had a bolt, he would have bolted it. So that's how I know there's no bolt. Okay, now it's safe for me to Armageddon. So after that, I did have a land in hand, which I played the 4. So my opponent was asking if he can animate the factory, and then it wouldn't be a land anymore. But I said no, it's still a land. It's just it still gets destroyed by the Armageddon. Although I'm pretty certain about that, right? Just because it turned to an artifact creature doesn't take away that it's still a land type card. Right, so I attacked 13 down to 8. Okay, my opponent plays a proxy of a Lotus. So I still have that Chaos Orb. I haven't used it this whole time, because I found other ways of of dealing with my opponent's cards. So I think he was waiting for that extra land, and he didn't get it. So I'm sure it seemed like he had another Erhnam in hand. With the Lotus, now he just needs one land, and he could blow it and get 4 mana. So all right, cracking the Lotus. Ooh, wheel. Oh, yep, I see it. Yep, Erhnam. Okay, so that's a good play from his side. Yep, Berserk. All right, so I had a Serendib and Swords. I couldn't cast either one. So that's a good way for him to get back from Armageddon, so he's bound to draw some lands. So that's a good play. And I couldn't do anything because I can't orb in response. He's still going to get the land. All right, so he's dropping a land now. Credit, so I believe that's the land that makes it 2/3 already, right? So that's a good initial play. So that's a good way to get around that Armageddon. But at least if he had a bolt or something, he probably would have cast that instead. So at least I'm noticing he's not doing that. So I may Chaos Orb at end of turn. Yep, I'm doing it. Let's see, in the creature. So he's at 8 right now. I'm at 13. So I'm tempted to destroy the creature just so that my Erhnam goes through. Yep. I could have also done the land, but he drew 7 cards, so he's bound to have another land. Oof, there you go. I got it. So that was end of turn. My turn untaps. I draw. Attack. He's at 3. Three to 13. I drop a land. A Savannah line. I pay 2 for a Pixies. Of course, because I drew 7 cards as well. All right. So he's at 3. I got 3 creatures. And he's got 2 lands only. I may have this game right now. So looking at the graveyard, I see 1 bolt only. Unless it's within that bunch that's down low. Right? Or I don't see any chains, so I don't know if he has any chains or not. All right, so he passed, and now I'm attacking. So I guess that's game 1. All right, so he took it. Yep, that's game 1. All right, so I took game 1. Now let's jump into game 2 after sideboards. All right, game 2. We are both drawing here. So my opponent chose to go first, I believe. Okay, so he has Llanowar Elf now on his hand. So he did have them in the deck, or at least most likely. I thought he put them from the sideboard. He just didn't draw any for that first game. Right? Same like before. First turn, factory from him. My go, I draw. So I didn't mulligan, so I kept my opening hand. Drop a Tundra, and I pass. So slow start for me as well. All right, drops a forest. I see an Erhnam in his hand. Plays the Llanowar Elf. I see a Regrowth. I see a Berserk. I think I saw a red card, so maybe a Bolt. So his hand is pretty stacked. I think he was asking if he can tap it when it comes into play. Maybe he wanted to attack with the factory. All right, my turn. Draw. Drop a Savannah. So I already have all 3 of the colored mana that I need. That's why dual lands are so powerful. I'm paying 2. That Chaos Orb is back. So last game, I didn't use it until like my second to last turn, I believe, right? So I just kept it in play for a good chunk of the game. So let's see if I do the same for this in this game. Although this game looks like I'm going a lot slower. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 cards in hand, 2 lands in play. He drops another forest. 4 mana for an Erhnam. That's not good. So I may have to use my orb on the Erhnam if I don't have anything else in my hand. Or I could choose just to take a bit of damage initially. Nope, I'm doing the Erhnam. I'm flipping on the Erhnam, so I must not have anything else. All right, good flip. I got it. With the other land, I cast the Savannah Lines, and then I pass. So no land for me. So same like game 1, where I was low on lands. My deck, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's a 20 land deck for a 12, 13, 14, 17, 19. Yeah, 20 lands. That's usually what I do, 20 lands. Which is definitely a bit on the lower side. But with the Moxes, Sol Ring, those are, de facto lands, basically. So that's the reason why I keep it at 20. Sometimes even go a little lower. All right, so my opponent regrowth, and that's it. I go and I drew. So I have that Savannah Lines from before. I play a bird, and then I pass again, so it's still not. So we're back to 2020 in life. I didn't attack because he has a factory that can block and pump itself, or he could just chump block with the Llanowar Elf. 4 mana. Oof. Juggernaut. Okay. I think last turn he played an Erhnam, right? Yeah. So I'm surprised he's not replaying that same Erhnam, right? Because now, basically, he's letting me see an extra card in his hand, right? So if he played the Erhnam, I wouldn't have known that he had a follow-up with a Juggernaut. So now the Juggernaut's in play, and I know he has an Erhnam in hand from the regrowth. So as I decide what to do, I have to consider those that the Erhnam is still in his hand. So I dropped the forest. That's good. That gives me 4 mana with the bird. Okay, oh, there you go. He dipped it. So I saw a lightning bolt, I believe, and a berserk, I believe, in addition to the Erhnam. So he's getting good stuff, and he has the mana now. So I gotta catch up fast. So let's see. I'm doing 3. Okay, so I think I'm doing this. Well, I may not have anything better, and I gotta do this. But seems like it's a trade. Because he has to attack with the Juggernaut. I know that. So this is a way for me to trade my dip for his Juggernaut. If I had cast the Erhnam and I blocked it, I would have traded the Erhnam for the Juggernaut. This way I can keep my Erhnam in hand or whatever other card I have in hand, and I still get rid of the Juggernaut, right? Because I know he has an Erhnam as well as a follow-up play. So I think this is what I'm doing, the reason behind this particular play. Or it could just be I have no Erhnam and no Juggernaut in hand, and this is just the best I could do. We shall see. Okay, so my opponent is thinking about doing something before attacks. Or maybe choosing to attack in addition with the factory. Maybe even the elf. He's attacking with the elf and the factory. No. So, okay. So I'm blocking the elf with the lion, and I'm blocking the dib with the juggernaut. Well, the juggernaut with the dib. So, all right. So a little glare, but we know that's a Savannah line. So, I know the Erhnam is coming out. So other than for chump blocking, it's not useful at all. So I'd rather just get a creature out of this exchange. So everybody dies here in this exchange. So my opponent, yep, I see that Erhnam, and yeah, the Berserk. I see another Giant Growth. Ooh, if he plays that Giant Growth, I think he's... Oh, Berserk. Oh, interesting. So he's Berserking the Juggernaut and saving his Llanowar Elf for some reason. Okay, so that Juggernaut now does 10 damage, but it will still die because the Berserk only pumps the power, not the toughness. So yeah, I think that's the issue. Yep, my opponent. So that's kind of a misplay on his side, only because he just didn't realize. He thought it was similar to Giant Growth. All right, so yeah, so I ended up taking 6 damage because it's trample and it has 10 power. My my dib has 4 toughness, so I take 6. I'm at 14. He's still at 20, and he passed. So he cast those 2 things. So then he couldn't follow it up with the Erhnam. So that was surprising. 4 mana. So that's now my own Juggernaut now. I pass. In hindsight, putting a Giant Growth on the Juggernaut and just letting the elf die would have probably been the best. But it seems like it was just a misplay based off inexperience. 4 mana. Here comes the Erhnam. Although by now with the Juggernaut, I'm not scared of it anymore because, or at least less scared of it. So I see another Erhnam in his hand. Whoa. All right, so pass is my turn. Draw. I'm attacking. He knows he has another Erhnam, so I would trade. Although he's still at 20 life, so he may just choose to take it. We'll see. Okay, he has a card in the tip. Could be another Giant Growth. All right, we trade. Follow up. Oof, I had an Erhnam in hand. But of course, I know he has one as well now because we saw his hand from the side. All right, so he's playing a proxy Mox Emerald. Four mana, casting his own. Yep. All right, my turn. Giving Forest Walk to his elf. Yep, there you go. Pointing to the elf. And then when it's his turn, he'll give Forest Walk to my bird. Of course, if I Armageddon, there's no more Forest Walk. But right now, like, we're pretty even. So this is not the best time to Armageddon anyway. Okay, drop it now land. Okay, here's my Sarah then. Oh no, Brain Geyser for 2. For 3 actually. So I dropped the land. So I can play another land. All right. Yeah, so he gave his Forest Walk to my bird. He tapped to cast his own bird, so now I can give it to his bird next turn. 4 mana, free, a book. Okay. So yeah, he's coming in for 1, unblockable. I'm at 13. He's still at 20. So my turn, draw. Okay, dropping island. So I'm surprised I'm dropping more lands because with 5 mana I can cast everything in my hand. Right, so I may have a swords in hand and I just want to have that extra mana available to sword something. All right, so he's, yep, sourcing my bird. I mean, forest walking my bird. Okay, so, oh, yes, another Erhnam. This, so he's played 3 Erhnams, I think maybe in 4, right? Because he regrowthed. He's playing Erhnam 4 times this game. So he's attacking. No. So yeah, they bounce off each other. So neither dies in this exchange. So I think yeah, he's taking it back then maybe. So my turn, forest walk his bird. So we're just forest walking each other's birds until something new happens. But of course I have a flyer now. That makes a big difference. So I'm coming in for 4 flying. Yep, my opponent's dropping his life. So he's at 60, I'm at 13. Juggernaut, line, and I pass. Seems like, well, 1 card in hand, maybe 2 if they're stacked on top of each other. All right, so giving my bird forest walk, and then yeah, he was asking if he can give the same creature forest walk twice, and I said yep. So it seems like I have, well, definitely at least 1 card in hand, right? So I may be bluffing that I haven't swords, or I may actually have it. All right, so now I will say I have the upper hand here. So if I do have that Armageddon, I would play it now. Because 1 Erhnam can bounce the other Erhnam. My Juggernaut, he has to block with something. Or I could just hold back and just attack with the Serendib. Of course, I have to attack with the Juggernaut as well, but he's gonna lose something. All right, so yeah, he sees he has to act, be proactive, not just react. All right, so all right, it's just what I was mentioning. Erhnam's bounce, and then the Erhnam and the Juggernaut trade with each other. Oh, here it is. A healing south, my Juggernaut. So I saved it. So I thought I had a swords, but I had a healing salve. So I must have put that, of course, from the sideboard. So far, that's the only card from sideboard I noticed that I played the second game. If I'm not mistaken, I sideboarded in the healing salves for a good chunk of the games. So it ended up being very effective. My opponent plays a ruby. Did he attack? I think he forgot to untap. Oh no, that was the same. That was the same turn. Yeah, he after attacks he dropped the ruby. All right. So his Erhnam is tapped, and he tapped the factory. So maybe that was a mistake because he could have blocked it with a Juggernaut. All right, so I'm like going all out, attacking with all four of my attacking creatures. Oh yeah, so he said, yeah, he can't block the elf with the Sarah because it has flying. But if I think I told him if he's gonna trade, he can just block one of the other ones, bigger creatures, or if he wants to, if he chump blocks, he should chump block a bigger creature. If he wants to trade, he can trade with the Savannah Lines. All right, so he has a bolt to get rid of the Juggernaut. He blocks the elf with the Savannah, and then he takes 4 damage from the unblocked Erhnam. So he's at 12 now. I'm at 13. Oh, my mistake. He got hit for 4 from the Sarah Angel. So he's at 8. I'm at 13. I'm casting 2. Ooh, is this a time walk? Or a regrowth? I'm paying 2 mana. Disenchanting the ruby. Paying 4 mana. Ooh. Alright, yeah. So I'm destroying his mana production because I knew I was gonna Armageddon. So yep. All the lands are gone. And then I follow that up with my own land and then another Savannah Lines, right? So that's definitely a good play on my side. So he gives Forest Walk to my bird, but he has no forest. Neither do I. We both got a bird, but I'm up in life. I got a Sarah Angel. So I'm definitely up ahead. Yeah, I would attack. Yep, there it is. I'm probably gonna just take that. I could chump block with the line, but maybe I'm afraid of bolts, and we'll see. No, looks like I just took it. So I'm at 9, and he's at 8. Passes. Draw. And I'm attacking with my 3 attackers. He's at 8. He can block with, can only block one of them with the bird. So no matter what, he's taking 6. Still not dead, but very low. So I think I'm explaining to him some of the options he has available.
Now you know.
Okay, so he blocks the Sarah, I believe.
You can still use your bird if you had something you want to do, with the mana.
I think we were having a discussion also about if he can tap in response, after blocks, if he can still tap to gain a mana for instant. So I believe this is what this conversation is about. So he's still blocking. Yep. Choosing to. Okay, bolts. He thinks it's a 1/1 bird. So that's not good.
I mean, that would have been awesome.
So the block is still good, but he should bolt the line. Right now, I was just explaining that option.
Sorry. It's up to you. It's your game. Yeah.
All right, so yep. So he took 4 from the Erhnams. He's at 4. He bolted my line and he blocked the Sarah. So I paid 2 for Pixies. And then he draws 1 card. So he's at 4, I'm at 9, I believe. I block, just being afraid that he could giant growth it. So you see, now I have to give force walk to his Erhnam because he has nothing else. But there is 8 damage. Only 1 card in hand. Giant growth. So yeah, that's not gonna do anything. So I got this game 1, 2-0 against this particular opponent. Thank you guys for watching.